Yo, what is going on, homies? It's your boy StumpD back for another OPTC video, and in today's video, we're diving into some Pirate Rumble with a bit of an interesting video for you guys. So, you guys see on screen, we actually managed to pull the new PvP legend GARP. We did some multis off screen with the kids that I look after, and we actually pulled GARP, which is really cool. So I did want to try and put some content together in PvP, because he's obviously a PvP legend. Now, within those summons, we did pick up stuff like Donjin Jiao and Pell, which we did pull in the first 5 multis that I showed off in a video for you guys. So we did manage to put together a very sort of fighter, powerhouse, DEX sort of team. Now, with the new GARP, he's obviously revolving around fighter characters, and so is Donjin Jiao. And then the new Pell, well, not the new Pell, my new Pell is very centric around DEX and Powerhouse. Now, both Donjin Jiao and GARP are both Powerhouse units, so they do work kind of well together. And Pell, just being an absolute demon of a Pirate Festival rare recruit, he just works so damn well. So I kind of morphed this very odd-looking DEX fighter Powerhouse team with stuff like 6+ Katakuri and his level limit break, with Doflamingo chilling on the bench, Dalton because he's a powerhouse, Sobermas because he's a fighter powerhouse, as well as Luffy, the anniversary Luffy, being an absolute DEX demon. Now, I tried to put together a fighter, like a mono fighter based team, but I just really wasn't having that much luck with it. I found that this team was just way better. However, I didn't have a lot of time to like really test. I didn't really want to spend too many gems on PvP. But I will, moving forward, once we get our sort of natural stamina. If you guys have tested a mono fighter team with stuff like the new Sengoku, with GARP, Jack, doing some powerhouse fighter shenanigans with stuff like Who's Who, let me know in the comment section below, because I would love to try out a mono fighter based team. But that was the first match against Quick. It was a bit of a warm up. Let's dive into the real fights. Alright, so onto the beefy bait Free Spirits team now, with Yamato and Odin and Straw Hat Crew and all that scary stuff. Rebecca Toy Soldier also scares this team a little bit too, because like Dalton is a slasher, so is Pell. So you have to be very, very careful with that. But let's break down these characters. Let's take a look at what they actually do in Pirate Festival. So GARP is a DEX fighter unit, and he's built around fighter characters. You really want to try and build out the team with a fighter, a mono fighter, or like a very fighter-centric team. And moving forward, OPTC have had a tendency to sort of build out these characters in terms of being color and class boosted. So like Dex Fighter, Driven Quick, all of those ones like Free Spirit Slashes have been very prevalent. So GARP is a fighter powerhouse Dex unit, and he does work obviously really well with the new anniversary Luffy. He does work very, very well with Pell. He does work great with other fighter powerhouse units that are also Dex, like Lucci. You can also use stuff like Neko and Inu, because they're fighters as well. So you do have a lot of options if you want to build out it's like a mono Dex fighter team. It's definitely doable. But with his Pirate Festival special level 10, he targets 2 enemies with 100% cool special charge for 1.8 times his attack 2 times. Gives fighter allies attack up and speed up level 7 for 20 seconds. And if his current HP is 50% or below, he targets himself for a 1.4 times counter stance for 30 seconds. Now, counter is a bit interesting. Dex is sort of like flurried with the counter stance. I haven't really seen it be all that effective. It is a cool mechanic, and I have seen it work very, very well, but I don't see it be that effective most times in most fights. GARP's special, as you guys literally just saw on screen right there, can have the tendency to literally hit 0 units, because once you hit 0 unit, if no unit has their special max, you just don't get damage with GARP, which unfortunately means you only get the attack up and the speed up, which is still good, but like you really want damage output with him as well. However, he does work very, very well with the new Donjin Jiao, who can like special seal. He can also like just roll back like the special a little bit, so then GARP can go after that character's attack. But that all comes down to RNG, and it all comes down to timing. And I found that this team, whilst we're still very good and could play around RNG, it still had that reliant RNG factor. It's not the best team in the world. It did get dexed by like some crazy high-end teams, but GARP's Pirate Festival ability is for fighters, blow away percent up level 5, defense up level 4, and if the current HP is 50% or low, he gives himself up, attack up level 5, and defense up level 5. So the whole blow away percent up is where you knock them back, and then that way you can sort of stop them from attacking, which means that they can hold onto their special longer, which works great. But you can also partner him up with the new Sengoku as well. So like right there, we got no damage because no one had their special charge. You can partner him up with the new Sengoku, who actually gives you a level 2 attack up if you blow away the enemy. But that was the bait Free Spirit team. It was a bit dicey, but we managed to get it done. Let's move on to the next fight. Alright, so now we get in Brazy. Mono, Psy, Free Spirit centric with Wano Law. Wano Law, man, he just stays winning, dude. Like, he nerfs powerhouse units, which obviously, like, all these new characters are powerhouse. He nerfs driven, which all, like, the quick characters and all that batch was driven. So, like, Wano Law, he stays so good in Pirate Rumble, man. So good. The more driven and powerhouse characters that come out that are good, the more that Wano Law shines. So I did want to try and get a fight with Wano Law because obviously we are very powerhouse centric. But GARP, he's not terrible. He's just not amazing. I think being DEX really helps him out a lot because the DEX team is very, very good. And partnering him up with the new Pirate Festival rare recruit Jin Jiao also helps him out quite a bit too. Jin Jiao is also built around fighter characters. His ability gives them level attack up 6, HP up level 6, and if the time is less than 50 seconds, he gives himself level 10 attack up. So that stacks on top of the level 6. So he's giving himself level 16 attack up. Man, look at all that half stats. That is scary shit. His Pirate Festival targets enemies in a large frontal range for 70% special bind chance for 10 seconds, and damage over time level 2 for 15 seconds. Now, damage over time, I've been finding to do a lot of damage because I think it's based off the character's attack that gives the damage over time. So the damage over time when you have like 16 attack in the last 50 seconds can be very, very strong. He also targets 2 enemies for a 30% special cooldown rewind. Obviously, this is RNG to who he selects, but it can come in absolute clutch when you sort of roll back a healer's special or a really big damage dealer specials that you can just take them out, something like Yamato or Chopper. Those real fundamental characters on the team. Now, Pell actually took out Odin there, which was actually huge for us. Taking out Odin means that they lose basically like 50% of their damage output, and now they're sort of just relying only on Yamato, who's only ever going to hit 2 units, where Odin can literally board wipe your entire team. So if you hybrid, or if you partner up the Jin Jiao and the GARP, which not a great showing for the two of them here, because like they got fucking destroyed early. But this was a really good showing for Pell. Now, Pell has been around for a little while. He came out around the sort of DEX resurge, well, not resurge, but the DEX surge, and he is a powerhouse slash unit. He boosts powerhouse characters and gives a powerhouse buff, and then also buffs DEX. Now, he's not a fighter himself, and that's kind of why I have him in the middle slot, because he's not actually getting buffed under Jin Jiao or GARP. However, the buffs he provides for the rest of the team, namely for Luffy being a DEX unit, and then giving Katakuri, Jin Jiao, and GARP the fighter buffs, works amazing. And obviously, he buffs himself twice, because he's a powerhouse fighter, and his special can do so much damage. As you guys just saw there, he just won that fight for us. He was the MVP in that fight, and that was probably the scariest fight of the video. So, shout out to Pell. Let's on to the next fight. Alright, so onto a defensive Cerebral team. I really like the Cerebral team. It has a lot of variations, and when it comes to these class-based teams, they do tend to work better as defensive options because they have a lot of legends, but they don't have a lot of like Pirate Festival rare recruits. And Cerebrals are no exception to that. They have some very, very good characters. They could stall you out with stuff like Hiyori and Chopper. But I really wanted to like include them in this video because they do have a lot of damage output too with Dofi, Uta, and Shanks. But this particular team was quite a good defensive Cerebral team, and I kind of underestimated it quite a bit when I actually went into the original fight. But I really wanted to see how the RNG went with Jin Jiao sort of special binding, as well as trying to get the special reverse on characters like Chopper. Now, as you guys saw there, we actually got it on Hiyori and Chopper, which was actually huge. But the problem is with Jin Jiao, it's only a 30% special rewind, and if they have a lot of special cooldown or special charge, that 30% doesn't really mean too much because they just get it back depending on their attack order and stuff like that. Having Pell, though, on the team, giving the level 3 special charge for powerhouse units, helps out this team so much. And this is what I found the difference between the fighter team and this particular team that I put together, is Pell giving that cooldown, like level 3 special charge time, is actually insanely good because it allows stuff like Jin Jiao to go early, get some special bind off, roll back some specials, then get GARP coming in and doing a lot of damage because GARP can do the damage as long as the enemy has that 100% special charge. And that's sort of the big thing, right? You need that 100% special charge, but it's also like I don't want them to have that special charge too because I don't really want to get hit by an Uta special. I don't want to get hit by a Dofi special in the last 30 seconds. And I don't want to get hit by something like Odin or Straw Hat Crew either. However, the special bind is very, very powerful because you lock their special in for 10 seconds, and then you can do a lot of damage with GARP that way. So the two of them work really, really well. Getting the special charge from Pell is awesome, and then you just have Luffy there because like Luffy is just so tanky, man. Like Luffy just does not die, and when he does die, or the Dex unit dies, he brings them back at 50% HP. So I kind of had to include him on this team. He's a Dex unit, so he gets the buffs under Pell. Not the powerhouse buffs, but then he gets all of the fighter buffs under something, under the GARP and the Jinjiao as well as then giving a whole bunch of Dex buffs to all three of those units that we just spoke about. So Luffy was really good here. He can do a lot of damage, as you see there as well, and that damage is something that we really need on this team because GARP, he sort of can't do damage most of the time, right? So whilst the GARP and the Jinjiao are good for the fighter team, it's not really something that Dex needed per se, and when you are running sort of Dex, you're probably not going to be running a Dex fighter-centric like situation of what they're trying to push anyway, but the option is there now. Like, it's definitely there. Now, I've versed some really crazy defensive fighter teams. I'm not saying they're not out there. I'm just saying that it's a very RNG-based sort of situation, and trying to counteract as much RNG in Pyro Rumble is really the aim of the game. Got one more fight for you guys. Let's wrap up the video, and let's check out the final fight. Hey yo, does anyone remember Strength, the natural enemy of Dex? Well, here it is. We found a Strength team, and funny enough, Strength is like still pretty good, especially when they are taking on Dex. Now, the final unit I haven't spoke about on this particular team is actually Katakuri. Now, Katakuri, if you are doing a fighter team, he's a must. 7 HP, 7 attack, and 7 something. He gives like 7 something else. I want to say maybe 7 defense. I might be wrong there. But with his level limit break, he gives a lot to like fighter, powerhouse, driven. All the classes that he's captain boosts, he gives it to those classes in Pyro Rumble, and it's level 7 of everything. He does a lot of damage too with his special, as well as then giving himself a lot of healing back. So if he takes a lot of damage early, he heals back 40%. However, he's not a Dex unit. He's not a fighter. Oh no, he is a fighter unit. He's not a Dex unit, so he doesn't get the buffs under Luffy, and he doesn't get the half of the Pell buffs either. So he's really getting all of the fighter buffs, which is great, but what he provides to literally everyone on this team is so powerful that I just had to have him on the team. Like, he was a must on the team. Try and hide him though. I have him in the back just to try and hide him a little bit, because you don't want him to die too quickly. But the thing with this team is it all sort of works out very nicely, and the placement of all these units is very, very sweet, as the synergy of the way that the subs come in, or the bench come in, works quite nicely. Most of the time, you will lose Katakuri early, because he's not getting buffs under Luffy. He's not getting half of the Pell buffs. He's probably the weakest link in terms of how much buffs all the character gets with the synergy on the team. And as you guys saw there, we actually lost him first. Dalton will then come in next, who's still a powerhouse unit, but is also a Dex unit. Now, he just boosts Dex, and once Katakuri goes, the rest of your team is actually a Dex-based team. So Dalton's literally boosting everyone. However, Dalton is not a fighter character. He's only a powerhouse and a slasher. So he gets all the buffs under Pell. He gets all the buffs from Luffy, but he doesn't get the Jinjiao, and he doesn't get the GARP buff, which is absolutely fine. At that point, you're probably going to lose someone else, whether it be Dalton himself, not necessarily, because he normally has a lot of HP, but you'll normally lose someone else. Normally something like Pell, maybe like Don Jinjiao or GARP. Like I said, Luffy just does not die, so like Luffy is usually the last one to go. But once you lose one of them, you have Sobermas come in. At that point, you're well below that 50 second mark, closer towards that 30 second mark if I'm honest, and that way Sobermas special is truly active. Sobermas is a powerhouse and a fighter unit, so he's really getting all of the buffs under everyone here. Then, once you lose some of your other units, you have Dofi coming in, and this is always happening unless you're versing something crazy ass like level 150 team. This is always happening in the last sort of like 50 to 30 seconds, and as you guys saw here, Dofi actually managed to come through in the last 30 seconds, get the clutch, and absolutely decimate the Strength team. So, there you guys go. It's a bit of a interesting hybrid fighter Dex powerhouse team. If you guys enjoy the team, make sure to go down there and belt the like button. If you've tried fighters, mono fighters, let me know in the comment section below. And if you're new to the channel, hit that big red subscribe button. But most importantly, wherever you are in this beautiful world, enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, I thank you for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Lates!